At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. I will stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. I will stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. I'm at the bottom of the sea. I will stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream.
Get to see somebody who's never been.
WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what-the-f moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Holy shit. It's Monday edition. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence. Woo, man, on this 27 January 2020. Man, my voice is, man, I'm kind of out of practice with my singing voice. Damn, dude. It's been, I have to raise up.
You know how long it's been since we did a Monday edition?
Oh my God. Well, this is the first 2020 of the decade.
We haven't done a Monday edition since November 18th.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, since the last time, because, you know, bam, bam, bam. So
Life
anyways.
got crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Life got crazy and all that stuff. Well, Matt, as a matter of fact, I told the audience pretty much what's been going on with everybody and all that with what happened with me, and then Spanky did her little diatribe and shit like that. So what happened with you, man? So what you been up to since that happened up until now?
I'll tell you what. I've just been busy. Like December was when the November, December, like, oh, you know, it gets slow here, not so bad. And nope, it doesn't. And dealing with, it seems, one catastrophe after another. You know, I'm glad to be back. Because I told my wife, I said, you know, she's like, you know, I kind of miss you being at home. And I said, yes, or not being on the show. I said, you know, I could be sick. She goes, no. She says, I'm tired of hearing you vent to me. I need you to go vent to other people. I was like, good on you, woman.
So in other words, she was encouraging your. Is that why I was getting like weird hints and notes and stuff like that every time I saw something posted on Facebook? You guys were throwing like, hey, it would really, really nice for him to get back to work. And I'm like, I wonder if she's talking about the station, or I wonder if she's talking about whatever. What's up?
She wanted me to get back to work.
Yeah.
She's tired. She's tired of my bullshit. She can only handle so much. So she poured me a nice because you know payday isn't hit, so I haven't got my new whiskey yet. So she poured me a nice glass of wine.
Well, that's nice.
I'm very, very bougie today, so you know, cheers.
Bougie. Wow. So then what happened after? Okay, so we did the show with Glenn Benton from OSD, and then so what happened after? What'd you do for Thanksgiving?
Man, Thanksgiving was quiet. Only a semi-family drama. I was able to get myself up to the Army-Navy game, and that was a lot of fun watching. That was the first time actually, you know, watching the game and everything. It sucks that, you know, Army, of course, loses when I go. So that was a lot of fun. And then it's just been a whirlwind, getting everything set, and a lot of changes in my job. So I've been a lot busier and put more in charge. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, whoa. Oh, okay, I gotcha. And so then, how about Christmas time? What'd you guys do for Christmas time?
Man, you know, I'm boring as hell. I didn't do anything for Christmas. The same old family thing. It was a lot of fun. Santa did visit the Flash residence, and the kids are happy. And I was able to get myself what did I get myself? I got myself a new pistol for Christmas, and I got myself a new phone. So I got that new iPhone with like the triple eye camera.
Oh snap! Yeah, it looks like the freaking
pretty badass.
Yeah, little
I won't lie.
Yeah. The three-eyed camera. So go on. So how was that? Is that so you like the new phone? Is it pretty?
The new phone is pretty badass. Like I've taken some pretty cool pictures with it, and you know, for it being an iPhone, it does take really good pictures, and having the extra like wide version that it does, it's actually pretty nice. Like it's worth it. My wife got that, and I was okay with getting, like, I usually get like the model before or something, but she's like, you work too hard, and I decided to treat you. I'm like, not to that price tag, but but since she got it from me, I guess I'll use it. So a ton of memory and everything. It's actually pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, it was boring in the Flash household, and that's the way I like it. Not boring in my state, but just boring in the household. So, it's been nice to just kind of relax. And then as things are starting to pick up for the new year, and new people are starting to join my office, and new people are joining WTF Nation Radio.
I was about to say, so let's talk about
back in the groove.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the new. So did you hang out in your AO? Did you hang out in your state? Did you stay home for New Year's?
Oh, we stayed home for New Year. We usually do. My wife and I are actually, we're gonna try to do something a little different next year. But this year, you know, me and my wife, I think we killed like 3 bottles of champagne and that was it. Like I think we watched the new Ryan Reynolds movie on Netflix. It was like 6 Underground.
That's right.
Like that.
That's right.
And
you know,
champagne.
And they're a ghost. You know what I'm saying? I love their emblem. I love their symbol. The symbol of.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought of you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, nice.
Yeah. There's more in store with CQ and all that information where that came from, because you know about our new lineup coming up with CQ with Pop Culture Warrior, and I'm excited as hell.
We're definitely excited.
Yeah. So
excited to add new blood to the team.
Right. Exactly. So then after that, so you spent time in New Year's and you just chilled at the house. So what'd you do so far for, up to, the whole month of January? What'd you do then? Were you just busy and stuff like that? What'd you do? I mean, I know we can't really say what you do, but you can't. It was kind of funny because nobody knew who I was or could say what to do now. And it was kind of cool that I retired and I got out and all that sort of shit.
Now you just be open as hell.
Now I can be open as hell.
How do I put this without making self-identify?
Right, exactly. Now I have to be the careful one for you, so that way you don't get snagged. You know what I mean? So let's see. So the whole month of January, how was it up to now?
Tell you what, mostly this. So an article came out a couple, maybe like a year or so ago. I think it was from Task and Purpose, talking about how the reserve, we don't get paid for all the work we do. In the wisdom of my people, I've become the new S4 for my unit. And man, I tell you what, I wish I could charge overtime, because as much work as I've had to do in January to get us all set up for the rest of the year.
Right.
Pretty busy, but I did find out, thanks to awesome tweet on Twitter, new S4 for my unit. That's good alliteration. You can actually put it through a form, and you can like calculate your hours, and you just got to get a commander signature, and then it adds to your promotion points if you make it to that part, that part of your career.
If you make it to that part.
Hey, life is short. S4. Let the recent events be a measure to you. Life is short, and you can don't calculate for granted. But but I like to prepare myself for the future. So now that I've learned that, I've been able to actually like start putting through points, and just being really busy. Like being a homeowner is tough. Like first time homeowner. Like there's so much stuff, but every day I come, I was like, oh my god, I love my house, except taking Christmas lights off my house, which I've only half done.
You are a fucking redneck, dude. You still have not taken your lights down?
No. Redneck is if you leave your lights on and you keep turning them on.
Oh.
I'm just lazy and just haven't taken them off. Like everything's unplugged. Like it was a couple days after the new year, and I was like, okay, this needs to stop. I unplugged everything. It's like, we'll get to it. I need a bigger ladder. But trust me, there's enough rednecks around me that they still like turn on their Christmas lights. I'm just like, y'all know it's 2020, right? You're gonna have to stop that shit.
Right, exactly.
But I just missed. You know what I missed? I missed the WTF Nation people. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
There's something freeing about being able to talk to like-minded or non-like-minded knuckleheads that decide to take time out of their awesome day to listen to us. And I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I didn't realize how much I was gonna miss you, but I did.
It truly
now we're back.
Well, yeah, it truly is an honor to have the WTF Nation support us and all the stuff that we do. And like I said on Sergeant's Time last week with Swanky, that we were there was some people that were worried about us and all that. And I said, now we're good to go and all that stuff. Just stay tuned and just taking a good break and all that. So
I had people hitting us up going, are you guys still around?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was funny because the bosses and the boss said, hey, you need to start it's time to get the game back up. It's time to get the time to get the stuff out. And the Geek Squad has been killing it with all the tech and stuff that we've been broadcasting on. So now we're broadcasting or podcasting on 15 different platforms and growing.
We're everywhere.
And growing. Global, multiple languages and multiple. It's like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. But at any rate, yeah. So real quick. So let's go. Let's talk about your state. Let's talk about, you were saying there were some things that happened in your state that were pretty interesting that I think we need to talk about.
So if you have been living under a rock for the first time in maybe 30 years or something like that, Democrats control the state House, Senate, and the governorship of Virginia, which is big because for a couple of reasons. One, it shows how much money Bloomberg is willing to put into a state that's going to run his gun control platform, which he did, financing a ton of the candidates for Richmond. And then as they went through, they were able to sweep in November. I think they largely looking down the ballots, there's tons of places, tons of counties districts that didn't even have anyone running against a Democrat. And then the ones, I think they said there was only a grand total, like 37% of the state came out to vote. So big changes, because that means it just like whenever a party is able to control, all three branches of the government, whether it's, local, state, or the federal, they can push through whatever they want. And they're already starting off with that. They're already starting that off right now. The biggest is what's most publicized is the changes to gun regulations in Virginia. Everyone has the same good measures of gun control, but they're taking that a couple of steps farther, starting off with a couple of pushes, including the institution of the red flag law in Virginia.
Okay,
let's going over very well.
Well, let's start off about that, okay? Because me and you go back and forth, and we've had individuals who've discussed the meaning of what's considered, quote, common sense gun laws, unquote, / red flag laws. Now, I'm kind of. It's almost like I'm looking at this logically, and I'm looking at this with a different set of eyes as opposed to the. See, I've known to there's people that I've been close to that, and then I also myself that have been hit with crimes that you need a fucking gun. There is domestic violence issues, robberies, home invasions and stuff like that. Hey, I'm sorry. There is a matter of capacity for an individual that needs to be armed in their own home or need to be able to protect themselves, and you got to have it. I mean, you just got to have it. Now, the individuals that have perpetrated those crimes and they're convicted felons or they're part of the Lautenberg Amendment, then that, to me, I think automatic should be the good flag of the red flag law. To me, that's just to me, only because I hate wife beaters and they need to get fucking beat the fuck up. But that's just me. Mm-hmm. So the victims, I would tell you right now, I'm speaking for them because of course that's to me, I think the victim has been removed from their rights in a lot of these cases. Especially domestic violence. The way states do domestic violence is unfucking real, and it pisses me off when I see that shit. So when I hear common sense gun laws, and I'm thinking, well, there already was one. It was called the Second Amendment. That's just me. And then the red flag law should be, to me, and this is just to me thinking logically, but of course individuals don't think logically, then that's when they go, well, if somebody gets mad at ICE or Flash for saying something on the radio, they're going to call the cops on us, and the next thing you know, we're going to get called the cops on because we said something, and now we're going to come get, we're inciting violence and all this shit, so they're going to call the cops on because they got butthurt about what we said. And that's how stupid it's gotten with the way people are carrying out their red flag laws so far. So that's why I'm kind of like...
It's tough. You look at... I like to think of myself as a pretty moderate person. I used to be on the right side of the fence, and now I'm kind of sitting on the fence and kind of go where the good ideas are.
Right.
So I don't hold any political affiliation. I go with the good ideas. So, I'm part of a couple of different gun groups and gun Facebook groups and stuff like that. So it's, not because I wholeheartly agree with them, but because I like hearing what's going on, especially in my state and with the underbelly. Now, there's been a couple things that have happened. There's 8 gun law bills that they wanted to push through. Some very extreme, like some of the red flag and the assault bill, and some not so much. Now, here's an interesting thing. The Senate Judiciary Committee for Virginia killed off a controversial Senate bill, which would have redefined and banned assault weapons while passing, and they still passed several other ones. We'll get to those. That meaning that they were going to redefine what an assault weapon was. So no longer was the AR-15 style weapon being considered the only assault weapon, but they were making it with shotguns that can hold more than 7 rounds and they have a pistol grip, pistols that have I think there's a railing system, and that they can hold more than 10 rounds will be considered an assault weapon. And then your AR style, anything that I hate to say it because the Republicans use it all the time, anything that looks scary, that's kind of their deal. So
no, you're right. If it doesn't,
pistol grip's a big part of it.
We get to the point where it's ridiculousness on how something looks scary. It's Like if you have an awesome vehicle or something like that, and it's all nice and decked out, it looks badass. And if somebody doesn't like it, it's considered an assault vehicle because the way it looks. You know what I mean? It's getting to that stupidity. That's right.
Really, and that was probably the most, like, what people feared the most of these bills was that, because the first brand was, we're banning all of them. You will have to turn them in. So, you saw, you can look at the news. You see gun store purchases rising at a crazy rate and everything like that. Then, then we had the whole debacle where a representative to Congress from Virginia came out and said, well, the governor can use the National Guard to help confiscate these weapons, which then you had a whole, we're about to be, we had some people on both sides saying we're on the brink of a civil war. I'm sitting there going, y'all are fucking retarded. But you must be talking about the so-called boogaloo. The boogaloo, which now individuals are now trying to put that as part of some sort of hate speech or something like that, to call a boogaloo the boogaloo when it's not. Nobody cares, right? If that makes any sense. It's funny how much stuff is trying to consider as hate speech just because they don't like it. That it seems like only the left can make memes and the right can't, which is funny because the right, every time the right does makes a good one, it immediately gets in trouble. But anyways,
that's because I'll tell you why. And I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I mean, both sides have their fair share of whiners and crybabies, but nobody takes it like as bad as the ultra fucking left. I'm like. That should be a hate speech. Is it because you don't like it, or is it because you feel the connotation, the boogaloo? It's like saying the jam, the beat, whatever the kids are saying these days for what a good get together. If you're out from the West, the hoedown, whatever you want to call it. Is that what you want to do? You want to start banning speech? Because then you start going into that banning free speech crap that I totally do not fucking agree with, because obviously. Yeah. Thanks to you guys, the WTF Nation listens to WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. We get to kind of throw our free speach out.
We'll get to that too, because Virginia is playing a part in the First Amendment as well. So you had the representative that came out and said they can use the National Guard. A lot of senators and representatives were condemning that kind of language, which is stupid, but it is kind of dangerous. And I had
how is that? But how is that? See, that's what. Here's what
I had a lot of National Guard folks that I know that were a little worried because they are AR-15 style weapon carrying people that have I have a buddy of mine who's got quite the arsenal, but he's in the National Guard, so he's literally gonna have to confiscate weapons from himself if that was gonna happen.
No, my whole thing is that that makes me mad about this whole fucking. It's everyone's everyone's clutching pearls and oh my god, he has all these weapons and he's using these weapons, and I get, look, it's not inciting anything. It's the actions of the individuals are what who is responsible for the action of that individual. You notice did you speaking of which, did you see the Second Amendment rally, which was on Martin Luther King's birthday on Monday? Did you freaking them right, Shelly? Giddy up. If you noticed that there was a peaceful march, it was mixed. It was interracial.
You're jumping me because I totally want to get into.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry. I forgot. You're back. I forgot. Go ahead. Keep going.
So we had that talk. There's a lot of pushback, and then Governor Northam came out and said, "We're not going to do that," which is good. They passed a bunch. So some of the bills already passed, which they've established a mandatory background check for any transfer of firearms, including private sales. That's one of the bills that was priority of the governor. I'm not I know two Republicans actually joined the Democrats in supporting that. I'm okay with it. I do believe that, if I meet a guy who's like, oh yeah, I'd love to have one. And my next door neighbor, and because I just got, we moved into a neighborhood, there's an Air Force veteran, and who knows, he could have been kicked out for the same thing that one guy who shut up the church in Texas was, kind of kicked out for that kind of domestic abuse and whatever. And if I just gave him a gun, I would be, to me, even if it doesn't say in the law, I feel like I'm complicit. If I can, if we have to do a background check and they're like, do not sell to this person, okay, then I know. So It exempts transfers between immediate family members and by estate administrators, as well as during lawful activities at shooting ranges. Meaning, like if I hand you over my shotgun, you can rock and roll with that, and you're fine, and you're good to go.
I think it's horseshit. Personally, I think it's horseshit. When they talk about, well, I mean, if you want to gift me, if the way I see it is that if you, I mean, remember you know what? You know how much we predicted some of the stuff that D. Treasy. That's why I think D. Treasy listens to us. Because remember we talked about this right before
he turns off his impeachment trial and just switches on
WTF Nation. Yeah. Because here's what happened, and I'll tell you guys, I'll tell you audience why I say this is that me and Flash were kicking around a few weeks back before we went out. This is before the last show, before the OSD episode. We were going back and forth, and we were discussing what would be considered a good background check, or how would I know with this gun show loophole that everyone's fucking crying about and all that. How would we do that? And no shit, me and Flash came up with an app. We even said we talked about how the app was going to work. We talked about how the app was going to do this and how the app was going to do that, and how we came up with our own WTF Nation way of checking things out. Because you really don't want to. What?
We should have took that to Shark Tank.
Yeah, we should have. Because you know what? What happened? What was broadcasted not even 2 weeks later? What they were talking about doing for all of us to do a self like a self thing when you go on on a website to see somebody's criminal record and you want to check them out to make sure they're not a wife beater. There's some states and they have this thing called, you log it in there and you say bam bam bam, is ICE good to buy a weapon, and it just all it is just a query. It doesn't dime anybody out. It doesn't dime anything in. It says nope, he's not authorized to get a weapon. And that way you could say to the buddy doing a private sale, you can't. Sorry, dude. It says right here I can't buy it, and I love you, love you, mean ya, but I didn't know fucking you were fucking convicted of this shit, and now you're not authorized to purchase a weapon. So sorry, I can't sell it to you with no attribution, no retribution, no whatever, and that's it. That's it. Between private individuals, because obviously private individuals are not authorized to, we don't have, we do what fucking citizens arrest or some shit. We can't do that crap. The first thing a Leo will do is like, what are you doing? You can't do that shit. Wait for professionals. Wait. You don't do this shit on your own. Curbing that freaking sheep mentality. But what I'm saying though is that we came up with it.
We did.
Me and Flash came up with the idea.
So they also pushed through another bill. It's the one gun a month bill that would limit citizens a one handgun purchase within any 30-day period. But it also exempts those valid Virginia concealed carry handgun permits and those replacing a lost or stolen handguns, as well as law enforcement agencies. They also pushed through the Bill 35 gives local governments the authority to ban possession of firearms in public spaces during events which require a permit, like protests. That one passed 2119 along party lines. So, and then the other proposed bills, including Senate Bill 240, which would establish the red flag law, and that passed the Senate Judiciary Committee, and it looks like it's going to we're going to push through. They're going to push through that one as well.
Red flags. I'm telling you, red flags are a slippery fucking slope.
I agree. It's the one gun a month. I can if Virginia wants to dig that, I can I can. And the problem is, like, all these people are like, no, that you can't negotiate. We can't give an inch. I'm like, you can, because it's okay to buy one gun a month. Who has that money to buy more than one gun a month?
Me.
Because you retired as shit. I'm not. You want to PayPal me some money so I can go buy share the wealth.
No, I'm sorry. That is for the Baby Ice, Princess Ice, and Miss Ice contributions to their freedom devices that they choose to own for. I can bequeath them as heirlooms. But my point being is that if you want to know what is the biggest example of how red flag law can go out of control with a lot of it being fucking hearsay, do you know what it be? The impeachment right now. Mm-hmm. The impeachment right now is a perfect example of what happens when a red flag law goes stupid. And I'll tell you why. The impeachment that's happening right now is the son of somebody who's married to somebody dating someone else's best friend who's worked in an embassy before as a pay clerk to write a check out to somebody who stamped the cash and delivered the mail to a specific embassy in a foreign fucking country that we're just taking hearsay for. That's how the fucking impeachment's happening. It's like there's so much hearsay. Well, that's how a red flag law will happen. And of course, legal scholars that listen to me on Twitter are also gonna fucking attack me because now we're on Twitter. So I'm just like, oh, ICE is talking out of his ass. Look, I'm breaking it down to me, just Joe. I'm just a Joe, man. I'm just a dude trying to, I'm just a dude being a dude, but trying to be another dude and trying to play another dude. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to live my life. I'm just a man trying to make my way through the universe.
They've passed 7 out of the 8 bills, and the big one was the Senate killed off that version of that bill, the assault weapon bill, because some moderate Democrat senators said they won't support the legislation, which would outlaw the popular AR-15 style rifles. So that's like, so a lot of people freaking out about, some of the other ones, they suck. That and Virginia also canceled. I keep messing up the word, so you have to bear with me because for some reason it's on my short list of words I have trouble saying. Reciprocity.
There
we go. We canceled that with like 13 states, and then we added another 4 northern states over the last like 2-week period. For those playing at home who don't know what that means, it means if say I live in Georgia and I have a concealed carry permit, if a state recognizes that. I can go to like Virginia, and if I got pulled over, I could show my Virginia concealed carry permit and no problems. But if I go to a place like Iowa that maybe doesn't recognize it, I could get in big trouble. So what Virginia said is, if you're from these 13, well, I guess 17 states now, other states, and you come here, we're not going to recognize your permits, which means you're in trouble. Which is kind of a shitty thing to do, but they say that they don't, they're not, their laws aren't restrictive enough, and more people can get a gun, blah, 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 blah. And so Virginia's just going all out, and they're also trying to push through a new because they want to fix infrastructure in DC in Virginia.
Well, bullshit.
So push it through a tax bill for gas. They have a couple of bills that they've pushed
but
through.
But that's 5 levels of horseshit. No, but I'm saying though, Flash, is that's 5 levels of horseshit because how many roads are fixed? How many of the infrastructure is actually being fixed?
Tell you what, 95 is just going to be in perpetual.
In perpetual repair, exactly. So
100 years.
So I'll be honest, with you, and this is to me, red flag laws can be tied to the what they call in some states tattletale laws. I know some states
are like, I won't lie, like I've already had a baby daddy, not my baby daddy, but my wife's baby daddy called CPS on us twice, and after the second time, and the lady came out and said, pretty much in short and paraphrasing, I know this is horseshit. I'm going to get a hold of his lawyer and pretty much let him know because it's anonymous that if it happens again, there's going to be problems.
And you bring up a good point though, Flash.
What's to happen to say he who gets met who is a very vindictive and narcissistic and likes to be a super controlling type person. He doesn't like me because I totally just go fuck you.
Right.
What's to stop him from saying I think Flash is a danger to my daughter who's with him.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I've got county sheriffs showing up, which I like the county sheriffs here, and I'd hate to be like, not until you have a warrant, and then they come in, and then I'm just going to say all my my guns just kind of fell in the water when I went on my boating trip. But
really no, but you're right. That's a good point because some
due process,
right? But Flash,
I don't get to prove that.
Right, exactly.
They don't prove I'm guilty. I have to prove I'm innocent to get my guns.
I'm telling you what, right now, bro, with that stuff that's happening and that specific case, there are some states that the weapons will be seized upon those falsely accused state. Those
Virginia would be one of them.
Yeah, they would seize your weapons first, and then you'd have to go through a psychiatric evaluation. You'd have to go through a police psychiatric. The judge has to clear it. Then the sheriff, who of course doesn't fucking know you or may have a cool stance or not a cool stance when it comes to Second Amendment ownership, will say, "Oh no, you can't have that. I think he's whatever because I saw him going off or something like that at a fucking family to get together or dude, I'm telling you, it is a fucking slippery slope. Bad. I mean, you ain't gonna do it. It's not worth it.
So this all brings us to Martin Luther MLK Day, where it's called Lobbying Day. It's usually when the gun advocates will show up on the Capitol grounds, and they will lobby their representatives. Especially into making sure that they, among other things, protect the Second Amendment. Now, a whole crap ton. If you weren't paying attention, you must have been living on a rock. But a whole crap ton of things happened. First off, there was, the governor came out and said we're worried about safety and this, that, and the other. So for the first time in ever, they banned the carrying of weapons on the Capitol grounds, which has never happened before. There was people who showed up early who were getting the cops called on them like they were trying to like sneak around and find things.
Yeah.
They're, they started setting up like, I mean, it was getting to the point where like they were setting up walls of chain link. You had to be, like people were afraid to go, like people were afraid to be on Capitol grounds because they're like, of course, some people are stupid and take this stuff like way too in the right direction. And I don't mean that like
stupid
incorrect.
people do exist.
Yeah, so like they're like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be safe," and I'm kind of, and so I get into these groups, and I'm not super popular because I'm not going to 100% going, "No, they take our guns," and I'm like, "Okay, let's talk about it," and like, cause like but no one wants to talk about it; they just want to be pissed off. But they showed, lots of people are like, "Oh, I don't want to be, get killed." I'm like, there's been tons of people with guns already. If you're gonna get shot,
there were 22,000 people with guns.
There were tons of people were afraid to go onto the Capitol grounds to then lobby. So they actually, so the Virginia Defense League is one of the big gun control leagues outside of the NRA, which is if you didn't know, is located in Northern Virginia, up in like the Dulles area. They were in show force. They were busing people in. It was this huge event. Like they're trying to get people from all parts of the state, like Roanoke in the middle of fucking nowhere, but they were trying to get everybody there. Now, there was a lot of conversation about, you had the police, and that got everyone a little on edge because, and the media spinning everything up saying, oh, this is the edge of disaster. Like they're thinking it's going to be another Charlottesville. It was just like, it was a whole bunch of tension around it. Went down there. It was scary.
Who brought the fucking guillotine? That's what I want to know. Who brought the guillotine? I didn't see who
brought the guillotine. When I showed up, I found the guillotine. Somebody had said that there was one, and I'd end up walking by it when we were leaving the area. But I was able to get on. I was able to go down there with a couple of buddies. And now here's my issue with the whole thing. There were tons of people who were doing exactly the right thing. I mean, tons of people. There were tons of people from different walks of life, from being, from minorities to women, like all kinds of people who were doing the right thing. And they weren't causing any issues. They were just happy to be there, old and small school kids. It was great. It was a great show. There was more diversity there than it is in the Democratic lineup for president, which was
Zynga. Go ahead.
Boom. And it was a really good, cool event. And then there were the Boogaloo people. Now I'm all for showing off your Second Amendment rights. I had a sticker. I did all that good stuff. But there was folks that were up there in full tactical kit. Like, I'm talking more soldiers wear.
Oh, shit, Jorge, you called? Hey, go ahead and call back, dude. Don't leave a voicemail. God damn it, I didn't see you called. You called? Shit. Did you call? Shit. You wanted to say some shit, Jorge? Give us a call back. Come on, Jorge.
I mean, there's people who were, rolling off with their AR-15s, with their 1-point sling, and they got they literally had like the rhino mount for their nods, and I'm looking at them, and I walk by them, and most of them were pretty nice, but I'm sitting there going, if you're thinking about how do we present, because this battle is going to be in the public opinion. Gun owners are, gun owners are already being painted as, we're just gun nuts and ammo sexuals and all this other bullshit.
What's wrong with being an amosexual and a freedom device enthusiast? I don't see a problem with that.
It's the connotation in the public sphere. That's what I mean. So instead of just being professional, all other stuff, I'm not saying it to be a polo but because it was cold as shit. But these folks that showed up in their tack vests and their LBVs and their side, the one guy had a Barrett 50 cal rifle that he drove down from his shop in New York.
There was a dude that was going to bring an M48 Sherman or M4 Sherman. He was. I wish. Did you imagine? If that
I would have got the picture with that, but I mean, the people, and what I was worried about, and what I cautioned people in these gun groups who were like, "Oh no, we need to show them we mean business." I'm like, "You're stupid as shit." But the problem was the same 5 or 6 pictures of these small sliver of groups who were there were the only things that were going around social media. The only things the media was using, the only thing that liberals, leftists, and Democrats and moderates were using to kind of show was just of these Boogaloo folks who were just too.
But see, I think that's discrimination. I think you're that's stereotyping. So you're saying
I'll stereotype because in the public eye of the public opinion. If you give the people who run the media what they want is to show hyped up, overarmed, feeling people that think they're overarmed and everything like that, who they can paint as these are the bad guys. We don't want to own weapons. Not the everyday people who are just out there. A lot of them were carrying. A lot of people who were outside the majority of the people outside the gate were actually carrying. A lot of them were concealed carrying, so you didn't even see anything.
Ooh, don't say that. I'll say you're trying to dime people out.
But they weren't all like, I'm about to start World War III.
Right.
Shot.
Okay, hey, we got a WTF Nation Radio. You're on the air. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's George from the Bronx. How you doing?
How you doing, man?
Oh, doing all right. Actually, sounded like an interesting story for the gun rallies. Honestly, personally, I would have bet the money line on whether or not it was going to be a Waco 2.0. Surprisingly nonviolent. So, way to go, Second Amendment guys. That was actually pretty good.
Right, dude.
The only person who got arrested was a female who was wearing a mask when they told her not to wear a mask like more than once.
Well, yeah, that was because there was a specific law that passed for anybody to wear a mask for the Antifa crap. So it was an Antifa issue, right? Isn't that what happened? Because they said it was an Antifa thing or something like that?
I've heard there's yes and no, but regardless, it was just one person who got in trouble out of the whole event, which is pretty spectacular for a large group of people.
Right. Hey, so Jorge, were you down there at the rally? Did you participate in that stuff?
I was not. They had us, on alert for, with this whole Iran shit. So a lot of the agencies up here in New York were, just taking care of other stuff, training, and just making sure that our supplies and stocks were all good to go. And we're still on cold weather alert. And now this whole fucking shit with China's got everybody spooked. Like my supervisor is pretty fucking hysterical. He took his kids into Chinatown wearing N95 respirators and fucking spooked everybody on the subway. It was actually pretty funny.
Well, why not? I mean, come on, dude. That's like the freaking. I'm not messing around with that coronavirus, dude. I mean, this is the days of this is what happens when you want to have open borders. Oh, let's have everybody just fly in and so good to go. And it's what's wrong? What's the worst that could possibly happen? So, so where you work at a federal agency that you can kind of like talk about a little bit on what happened. What was their take on it on the boogaloo? I mean the demonstration.
I mean, well, the thing with that is the whole thing with I think this was Pennsylvania, if I understood correctly, right? This was going to be, or no, Virginia. I apologize. Their main concern is just with extremism, as we saw was the case with Charlottesville. It's not necessarily firearms related, but just extremist related activity. If the dude doesn't have access to a firearm or explosives, they're going to use a vehicle, to cause as much damage and hysteria as they possibly could. So it's not necessarily the weapon systems that are going to be in play here, but rather just the intent and the motive of the individual. So I know that a couple of white extremist groups were already being tailed by a couple of federal agencies prior to that event. So, and again, it just goes into this whole narrative that
there was 6 arrests that happened of white supremacists or KKK type folks. Let me get that extra K in there. So yeah, there was a couple of arrests beforehand, which didn't help for the media frenzy, assuming that this was going to be a very dangerous event.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole thing. I mean, I really do appreciate the media being wrong.
Right. Oh yeah,
that,
they were. You're right. No, you're right. They were expecting like a blood blast. And it was like, whoa, it's gonna be crazy. Whoa, there's gonna be all these people gathering up, and what are the police gonna do? And if you saw the number of open carry rifles that were there, to include individuals of multi-ethnic / even to include of the LGBT community as well. They were there carrying openly as well.
That. Yeah, I saw that. And LGBTQ, like gun rights or trans rights. You know what? I'm fucking with it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you, Jorge.
Yeah,
cool.
It's like this other thing. When the fucking Joker movie came out, it's like, oh, this is just like Taxi Driver. There's going to be a shootout at the fucking movie theater. Fucking highest rated R-rated movie of all time. Not a single incident.
Right.
Fucking.
Right. Do you know
Yeah,
what? Well,
back down.
that's another aspect too of identifying the problem with America's mental health issues. With, believe it or not, every single mass shooting that has happened has usually had the mass shooter not authorized to carry a weapon and also being involved in psychotropic medication to deal with their behavioral health issues too. That's just the majority of them. And I'm of course, again, I'm going to have all the legal scholars throw this fact. It's just the fact of the matter is that just like the guy who was going to light up that church in Texas. And then that firearms instructor laid him out in 6 seconds. That individual had his weapons charges dropped in Jersey before he went to Texas. So the way I see it, if you're going to be talking about, sometimes I think, and I was talking to a family member while I was on my break about how I think sometimes in order for politicians to perpetuate their narrative and their agenda, sometimes I think that, hey, if it happens, some things are just going to happen. We'll just lag and see what happens. And did something just happen now? Oh shit, I'm sorry, my bad. I guess we needed to. I guess Jersey needs to tighten up their fucking weapons control. How did you get the weapons drop? Oh, with some sort of new crime stuff, or you know what I mean? It's just to me the way I see it's like a circle of perpetual bullshit that these politicians play, and then they use that to their advantage to further their agenda on some of this stuff. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like the majority, doesn't even need to be, like domestic violence or anything like that. Take a look at the majority of terror-based incidents, right? Not even domestic, go international. The majority of casualties have not been with explosives or with firearms. They've been with trucks. They've been with vehicles.
Nice.
Last terror attack that was on U.S. soil, I was there. My agency responded, Hudson Riverside Park. Some asshole was radicalized by ISIS video, decided to rent a pickup truck from the Home Depot, and mowed down a dozen folks on the Hudson Riverside Park. He didn't need a gun. And
right.
It's a matter of motive.
Exactly.
And it's a matter, if you're motivated to commit an act of violence against your fellow man, there's really not going to be much that can stop you.
Correct. Damn, Jorge. This is a pretty good fucking conversation. So do you, go back, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, but so you work for a federal agency on the side? Is that your...
No, I'm with the city agency with New York. So okay. So any type of weather type of incident, special events, I help represent. We, pull together resources. New York City is one of the few cities that kind of does its own thing. We send, FEMA Task Force 1.
Yeah, we know.
FEMA Task Force 1 is over there. They got a team down in Puerto Rico right now helping out with logistics support. And, my agency specifically deals with tropical storm-related damage, forestry-related assistance, like down trees, that type of stuff. If they needed like food, like a kind of like a point of distribution type stuff, then we definitely would have been activated. But apparently they have no shortage of food. They just need to know where the warehouses are.
I was about to say, what do you think about that crap, man? Whoa, damn, bro, what a burn, dude, sizzle.
yeah, that's it's one of those things where it's like that memo just fell through enough cracks. Like that, you think about it, right? That food has a half-life of like 25 years, and that warehouse has just been sitting there collecting dust.
Right, and with the exception, I think the water. I think water when it's open or exposed to extreme heat, it's when it loses its purity. That's I think the only one. But other than that, like HDRs or what we call humanitarian daily rations or disaster DDRs, disaster daily rations. Those are the ones that have a shelf life of 10 to 15 years.
But we're also, not to cut you off, but just on the whole,
I'm used to it. Go
ahead. Sorry,
you're good.
We're talking about a disaster zone. If it's not a tropical storm, it was these earthquakes. You're talking about the last major event that was in Puerto Rico. The death toll went from 59 to over 3,000.
Right, dude. And then currently right now, didn't they just have some fucking earthquakes these last 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. And here's the shit that blows your mind. There's about 20,000 earthquakes that don't get reported in the media. Apparently, these are the series of earthquakes that have just been strong enough to actually cause damage. And now that's just another thing that that's gonna happen. I mean, eventually, I'm convinced that fucking island is just gonna fucking fall into the sea at some point.
Or at least,
those dudes just can't. They just can't catch a fucking break.
You ain't lying. So, is there a lot of the assistance that goes to Puerto Rico? A lot of it's coming from New York. Then is that what you're saying? From where you see,
I mean,
from where you're at.
Culturally, culturally, I mean, New
Right,
York is,
right.
like the amount,
Of course.
the amount of Puerto Ricans in New York City. I mean, it's kind of like it's our second home, really. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican myself, so I mean, my grandfather was a World War II vet, and he was on Puerto Rico, as a captain, only had a 5th grade education. His first job was at a veteran in the Bronx, and that's where he raised, my dad and his brothers and sisters and all that stuff.
So he's a Borico. He was a Boriqueño. He was one of the Boriqueños.
Yes, sir.
Oh, damn. Dude.
And so, definitely we were the first to offer financial assistance. The city comptroller office has been a big help in trying to balance their books. I mean, they broke one of the first scandals, during Hurricane Maria, right? When somehow like a garage, door power company was able to get access to like a $30 million contract to supply all of the power infrastructure for an island after Hurricane Maria. I mean, how the fuck does that happen without somebody in the EPA, making phone calls, right?
Yeah, that's fucking insane. That's fucking insane, dude. Damn, dude. All right, well, hey, Jorge, we gotta cover some other stuff and take a break. So, thanks for calling up, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Take it easy, guys.
All right, have a good man.
All right, bye.
Ah, dude, that's insane, dude. I know Jorge bringing up stuff from New York. Why is it that New York tries to push their crap all over the rest of the country? That's just me. Like,
or California. California keeps coming over to Texas.
Yeah.
Where they say the more California residents that have moved to like Texas and then like 2 other states.
Yeah, I'm back in the day. California just to make fun of people.
At New York, y'all keep Bloomberg there.
Oh my
now you
God.
Jorge, cool.
Jorge, I don't know how.
The rest of New York. Get your boy.
I don't know how you
because he's spending
New
money
York's
in Virginia.
I don't know how New Yorkers do it, man. I don't. I don't know how all the property taxes, all the taxes and stuff, all the things that are happening, the restrictions and all that. I could not move to that state. I could just the property that I have my own would either be deregulated, I'd be arrested. Just some of the stuff that you can't have in New York would get you hemmed up left and right. Did you hear about Magpul sending some magazines to people from New York, like high capacity magazines or normal capacity magazines, however you want to say it? Yeah, that's insane, dude. So, Flash, you were talking about the event that happened, the guillotine, because obviously nobody got guillotined. But what happened after the rally? What happened afterwards?
You know what the weirdest thing that I've ever seen? Everyone started picking up after themselves, like legitimately. Like they're giving out the gun lives stickers and stuff like that. And some would some would fall, stick on the ground. There are people out there who are like with their knives trying to peel up these stickers. I tell you what, they left the Capitol grounds so much prettier than when we first got there. Besides all the fences, because now Democrats believe in walls. I stole that from a meme. I love it.
Well, no, I was just saying. Yeah, I was saying they did police call.
They picked up. They had trash bags. They had people like every major throwaway out of the Capitol grounds. They had people who were like, hey, if you got trash, bring it over here. We got trash bags. And they packed up, moved out, and there was nothing. So all the media were sitting there like, is there anything going to happen here? Because I'll tell you what, like you see some of the pictures from some of the other protests and rallies and stuff like that, and you just see these pictures of like this trash heaps everywhere. But, Virginia, they left Richmond a lot better than when they got there. Everyone was kind of like, and they picked up their trash. But these are the people that can't own, we can't own weapons. They even pick up after themselves.
Right, dude. See,
they teach you that. Virginia's 4th in the country, the 4th most educated state in the country. Well, we teach kids how to pick up after themselves.
No. What I'm saying though is that it was like for one moment on Martin Luther King's birthday, for one moment, for 3 hours, Virginia, the capital of Virginia was fucking clean for an hour before I got fucked up again, before I got messed up.
And to talk about, and one other thing, the governor left the Capitol grounds.
Why, dude?
Before the rally.
Right, dude.
Like most of the, majority of the
we're talking
representatives were there.
We're talking about the blackface governor, the KKK governor. We're talking about that guy.
Oh yeah, this is the same governor that in his medical book when he was in college. Who was first said when this picture came out, it was he didn't remember if it was him in the straight up blackface. We're talking like caricature mammy type out and get up, or in the KKK robe. As a Virginian, that's extremely insulting because that's we teach that in elementary school too. But then, he said it was him. He said, well, I was in college. And I was like, when I was in college and I was young and stupid, I remember drinking a lot. I remember doing experimenting with drugs. Never a time.
Don't say that, dude.
Never a time I started wearing blackface or in a KKK robe for a picture and being called Coon Man.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know where that...
So fuck off. Go to the North Room. Oh, I can't say that anymore because there's a new law. That's what I meant to get to. Recently, a new law has been being pushed through that says you can't harass, you can't pretty much make fun of, harass, of course threaten, which I got, threaten, but you can't pretty much be critical of these the Virginia politicians, or else you could get in trouble.
Wait, what?
Serious, end up in jail and a fine trouble.
So
granted, if you're threatening somebody,
is it across border? But is it across border? Can the WTF Nation go ahead and just drop some comments in all 14 of our chats?
I honestly, you Northrum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could. So they could draw that, and so all the WTF Nation that are sitting there, shit talking fucking the governor of Virginia, Virginia would actually the Attorney General's office could freaking actually levy charges against the WTF Nation for doing something like that. Is that how stupid it is? Does it cross? It's not. We're not talking about dick pics over fucking over lines or something like that, or transmitted over state lines. But we're talking about something like this.
If you're saying, again, I'm not saying, I'm literally making an example, just so no one decides
right.
If you say go to Northrum, I'm going to kill you and kill your kids and blow up your house.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. You're a jackass.
Of course.
Right. Okay, I got you. But that falls under other. That's not First Amendment anymore.
Right.
But saying, man, Governor Northrum's a douchebag.
Yeah.
If
concur.
that's get something like a Chicago. Mr. Flash, we need to talk.
See, that's what I'm saying. So basically, what you're saying though is that because butthurt feelings, because you notice everyone can try. And I'll be honest with you, we've gone back and forth with this before. We're not
IP mask.
Yeah.
You're going to make fun of the governor or the politicians of your state. Make sure you have an IP mask.
Right, exactly. Or use a VPN. Yeah, exactly. Use a VPN. But it's funny how these are the same individuals that are so critical about the president and say so crazy as shit. Whether you're a fan of the president or not, it's a double standard. It's like fucking hypocritical shit. It's look, if you sit there and say the office of the president or the office of whatever should have some sort of like a respect thing and all that. Well, just because somebody acts like a doofus in office, whether it be a governor or whether it be a president, doesn't give you, does all of a sudden make you lose your shit. But saying because he was being, a doofus in the fucking office means all of a sudden you start trashing the fucking dude, because then it carries on to the next president. And it carries on to the next president, whether it be a Republican or a Democrat afterwards, because now what you're doing is giving the whole license to call, to sit there and talking shit. You're doing that whole freaking thing. We're going to get to that, Jorge. Is that now when a Democrat or a liberal or somebody who is not a Republican is in their office, whether it be a governor or president, and something is said about them, the butthurt feelings of those individuals, red flag laws. Remember I was talking about red flag laws? You know what I'm saying? Am I being too fucking is that too gloom and doom, or is that could be possibly? It's hypocrisy, man. Straight up.
Everything's hypocrisy. Everyone wants what happened to them not to happen to the other folks, but then as soon as the other person gets in, they do the. You know what? I've lost. I'm just here to drink and to have a good time. At this point, I don't give a shit. If people want to be stupid and get themselves arrested, but everyone keeps doing this stuff, and because the meme game has been pretty strong against Virginia, they have to come up with,
but everybody. So what? How many other states have had?
Oh, here
meme
it is
games?
though. It's House Bill 1627: threats and harassment of certain officials and property venue. Provides that certain crimes relating to threats and harassment may be prosecuted in the city of Richmond if the victim is the governor, governor-elect, lieutenant governor-elect, attorney general, or attorney general-elect, members or employee of the General Assembly, a justice Supreme Court of Virginia, or the judge of the Courts of Appeals of Virginia. In addition, threats to damage property may be prosecuted in the city of Richmond if the property is owned by the Commonwealth and located in the Capital District.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I get the threat stuff, the threatening and shit like that. You cannot, of course.
Don't threaten.
You don't threaten. That's a common sense. Yeah, there's actually. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's like adding another law to or amending a law. Just make the law stronger or fucking enforce it. Then you'll be good to go. But talking shit about somebody, bagging on them and just like straight throwing the meme game on them is fucking hilarious when it comes to another. It is our right as citizens to hold our elected officials accountable and to the standard that we at least have elected them to. So yeah, right, exactly. Go get rid of the Second Amendment, they're going to go after the First, or vice versa. You never know. They're already doing it right now. You can't even say boogaloo. You know what I mean? You can't even say boogaloo without somebody going, "Oh my God, that's a negative connotation. That's leading to some sort of incitement and all that." Look, you know who? You want to talk about incitement? 22,000 rifles were there in Virginia. You know what I didn't see? I didn't see any incitement.
Nope, it was quiet. Everyone was respectful. The police were on and I hated that AOC came out and said, "Oh, it's racist because there was no police there." There were tons of police there.
Wait, say that again. It was racist. They had cops around the Capitol building, double reinforced.
She said that there weren't cops there, like the white, the large. It was large. There's a lot of white people there. But the reason, there isn't an issue because there's white people there. There was tons of police. There was Asian. There was black.
Police,
there was state.
I saw there was, all races.
State officers, county officers. There was tons of people. Everyone was respectful, shaking hands. No one was trying to be, to incite the police. It was a big nothing sandwich. To the media and the media on the ground who were asking all these questions and whatnot, and just everyone's like, "Hey, I'm here to exercise my right, my First Amendment right, for my Second Amendment right."
Right.
And it was
exactly. We're gonna take a break right quick, and because we still got more on the docket. There's a lot of other news happening in the world, and then and in the country, of course, a lot of things happening going on. We're going to talk about some other shit that's got everybody up and down. You're going to hear me and Flash go back and forth about some other shit that has to do with what is considered a hero, going back and forth, and what is considered the right to mourn of. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So stand by, and then we'll be right back. So everybody get some shots, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Shouts.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Let it all be
breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back with part 2 of the Monday edition with Ice and Flash. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence, of course, on this 27 January 2020. Damn, this month won't end. This is like the longest freaking month I think of. It's long. We're on day 80 of January, it seems like.
To me, it's been the opposite. I feel like
really?
January, I mean, it's almost February, dude. Like I felt like we just had the new year.
Yeah, I feel no. It just feels like to me like the new year. Yeah, well, maybe it's because I've been out goofing off doing shit. That's probably why.
You've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I've been busy behind the scenes. But anyway, so yeah, this whole month has been kind of weird. Anyway, what were you going to say? You were going to talk about the WTF Center of Excellence. We are the WTF Nation Functional Veterans Center of Excellence. We'll get it right. Or were you saying, Flash? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, sorry, my. So I have 2 slide doors for my radio office, and we have a new kitten. We got 2 new kittens in November, and one of them literally is trying to paw. At first, I thought it was my kid, and I looked over and it's just the cat. It's trying to like paw its little hand in there, and it keeps like shaking the door. And just like I've been throwing things at the door, and the cat's just looking at me like, "What's up?" Cute cats.
Yeah.
Hate cats. But
I'm not a cat person, so yeah, I'm just laughing I'm laughing for you. How about that?
It's better than the fat ass one upstairs. But these 2 cats, the new kittens are actually pretty damn adorable. But it's just I'm literally staring at them. They're now both looking through the crack. Like, what you doing over there?
Yeah, exactly. They want to know what's going on.
Go on, kitty. Jesus.
At any rate, okay. Do you just want to do like an hour long fucking or a 45-minute long fucking sports page? Because the majority
we might as well because
there's so much stuff going on.
One's half sports, half not, and the other one is so.
Okay, so everybody wants to talk about the elephant in the room because I've been getting PM'd. I've been getting the fucking the stink eye from people about. Okay, yesterday. NBA basketball player, retired Kobe Bryant, was killed with his daughter in a helicopter crash with 7 other individuals.
Soon to be Hall of Famer.
The aircraft was flying in conditions to where not even the Los Angeles Police Department were able to fly their aircraft. That's what so far has been revealed, and there was so much to uncover, so much to peel back on this story. First off, we're just talking about how the event played out. Flash, you were saying who released it first?
So first, you have to remember that LeBron, you just heard him on Saturday because LeBron James passed him on the list of all-time scorers, just passed him on Saturday, and he even pushed out a tweet saying, and Kobe Bryant pushed out a tweet saying, way to keep carrying on the game, and a congratulations to LeBron James. So it was a big deal. Kobe Bryant was just like in the media spotlight. Because he's being passed by LeBron James, which is a big accomplishment to LeBron James. But then disaster strikes. TMZ, first one to report that a helicopter crash had took place and Kobe Bryant was dead. I was in complete shock. I mean, it started popping like at first it kind of popped up and I saw it as a trend on Twitter, like not Kobe and this is wrong. And then the whole trending thing was nothing but Kobe. So TMZ was the first ones to break it out. They broke the story so early that the family wasn't even informed by then. So imagine hearing on TMZ that then got pushed through social media that your husband, your father, and his daughter, 13-year-old, I think it's Gianna, had passed away in that helicopter crash as well, along with I believe 7 other people, including a baseball coach and like his kid. There was a couple of kids on there, and it was a huge tragedy. So, but the reporting of it the whole situation from top to bottom is completely ugly. So much so that TMZ is getting so much flack that lots of people are putting out petitions trying to get TMZ shut down for this debacle. Kobe Bryant, who retired a couple years ago, known as Black Mamba, one of the best basketball players, definitely in my lifetime.
He was talented.
I loved him. He had his own controversy. He had his own issues with his personal life.
Well, let's go back to the real quick. We're going to hit that in a second. Let's go back to the release. Did it matter? I mean, obviously, with it, of course, it mattered on the speed of how the story happened. That obviously. The world has just experienced what a KIA or a WIA family goes through when social media blabs through freaking groups on Facebook or through whatever. This is the same thing that happens to all of our family members when they find out that a KIA has happened. They find out through social media, and because some nosy-ass individual wants to be the first to be in the know, wants to be in the center of everything, will be the one to break the fucking news to the family, and the family will get a hold of that information before it gets to the family.
And this is one of those things that, like I was telling you, when I used to advise, I used to do a whole social media briefing to new soldiers coming to the brigade and division and stuff like that. And one of the things I would bring up is, if something happens, do not post it on social media, because how would you feel your family finding out on their Facebook wall that you had died in some accident or something before they were informed? I said, how shitty would you feel? I said, now, so that's exactly what happened. Everyone got to experience the worst case for a family finding out about a loved one.
Yeah,
it's something that happens quite a bit in the military. People, to be the, people are so, I got to be first, I got to be popular, and everyone's going to retweet my tweet that this person had died. And TMZ, I mean, granted, TMZ, it's not Reuters. It's, it's not like to me, I don't find TMZ a reputable source. I mean, they dabble in celebrities.
I'm not defending TMZ, but there's a lot.
I never said you were.
I'm just saying, but
this is a practice I would expect from a shitty organization like TMZ.
Well, but it's okay to reveal relationship scandals, marriage fallouts, and fucking other criminal DUIs and stuff like that.
And that's
okay.
As good as the National Enquirer, and I think they're trash. And what makes media and definitely dealing with the media hard. They're a trash organization. They were a trash organization before they did this, and I don't read them, don't condone them even before this. But I think this made the whole world realize how shitty they were.
I think it was also a taste of what. Again, it was to me. It was there was information that I knew of a KIA of a friend of mine, and I had to. I kind of like heard about it, and I was kind of like putting two and two together. But I didn't want to reach out until I found out, and luckily I had somebody with me cope with that event, to cope with the news of hearing that. And I was really kind of like, dude, are you fucking, are you going to have, I mean, this is why, especially when it comes to crashes, it's really hard to tell, because we just had one. We just had another crash. We just had an EF-11 surveillance aircraft go down in Afghanistan, and right now we're waiting word on that. That we had we had several incidences aviation related. It's just not a good week for aviation. But the release of information, how TMZ handled it, you're right. It is not a. It's something that it didn't want to. I mean, I could just imagine you're sitting there doing your shopping or something like that, and you're hanging out with your family, doing some family event, and all of a sudden, because you follow TMZ or you follow some other media outlet, and the next thing you know, bam! Oh well, what? And it's your loved one, and you're like, damn. Yeah. You know what I mean? At this point, then that's when you go frantic and all that, and I couldn't even imagine. Now look, here's the thing that somebody brought it up to me and put it in this perspective. I couldn't even imagine being on an aircraft with my child, about to see the end, and could not do anything to help my kid.
Yeah, I think it was my dad and I, when we going to move a couch on Sunday, and he went, he's a kid. He kind of like, my dad and I don't really talk about a lot of like really tough stuff, because he in the military and stuff like that, he's already had to deal with a lot. So I kind of stay away from subjects like that. But he's like, he kind of looked over and was like, can you imagine, knowing that the helicopter's going down and your child's with you? Yeah, and dude. I looked at him straight up, and I was like, I don't want to. Yeah. I said, I'm not going to, because I can't imagine those last moments of life. And it's a sobering effect that, flying is still not 100%. You're gonna make it every time, and like people. I had one person who I was on a plane with. I think I was going out to California or Washington or something, and I always say a little prayer, nothing major. Like, I'm not out there, Lord protect me, but like just like a please God get me through this one, so I don't like stab anybody on these planes, because I can, like, oh my God,
air travel
this mouth
blows.
breather falls asleep and stares at me the whole time when I knife him. But I say like a Lord, just help me let me get back to land safely. I have to be specific, because sometimes he takes things a little too like, oh, we'll get you back on land too easy.
Well, my thing
I
is,
had one guy who literally was just like, why do you do that? And I was just like, why not?
Why not? Well, I'm just saying, it just, to me, it also, Graham Allen also posted something about saying it didn't matter whether you like the guy or not or whatever. You just have to think about, it could be your time at any time. Mm-hmm. He wasn't thinking about, he didn't think that he was going to get into a helicopter and that was going to be the last time he was going to fly. He wasn't going to be, especially, and he also had an interview just released a while back stating that the reason why he took a helicopter was because California traffic sucks so bad that he misses events. He'll miss, and he wants to spend time with his kids.
I don't blame, honestly, I don't blame him. If I had the money to fly by helicopter or personal plane, like, I had my own like propeller plane.
Right, who wouldn't?
I totally would do that, because I've lived out in California, and just getting anywhere, hell, just going to the CVS store 2 miles down the road could take you like forever, let alone going to a major sporting event or anything like that. Like, it's just so I get why he's in a helicopter, but because I don't want to harp on it too much, because I don't want to harp on the his personal life behind, because there's people making light, of, oh, you shouldn't mourn him because of, things he has done, this, that, and the other. I will just say that from our perspective, WTF Nation Radio, I'm very in Flash's perspective, I'm very disappointed in the people who chose to run this story. I get it. Kobe Bryant dying is a huge story, but a mother found out that her husband and one of her daughters had died on a helicopter from a news, or I wouldn't call it news, a media organization, before that somebody could tell them, person to person, this happened. And that breaks my heart, and my heart breaks for the Bryant family, and in his surviving family. And TMZ should fucking feel horrible about themselves. and there should be a lesson to every other news organization that I got the 24-second. You know, we went from a 24-hour to 24-minute to 24-second news cycle, but you can't lose your humanity when it comes to reporting. Like, you know, sometimes you just need to remember who we are as people.
Well, not to mention the fact that, at least, look, and of course you want to talk about the personal stuff. I'll bring it up. There are some individuals that talked about his personal shit, and you know what? A lot of you individuals that are talking shit about his personal stuff, you weren't fucking there. Some of you were in diapers, or some of you weren't even. I sound like a boomer. Some of you were like either in fucking high school when he was going through all of his drama. And the way I see it is that what he went through, do I know exactly what fucking happened? Am I taken up for what happened and all this shit? No, I'm not, because I don't know what fucking happened. I don't have like the event of what happened in his fucking what was it, his sexual assault stuff or something like that he had, or his accused rape and all that, or was acquitted, or was settled out of court, or was under trial, or didn't go to trial, or he didn't get a fair shake, or did get a fair shake, or he just got away from because he's rich, or the girls got away from parents because they're rich. I wasn't there. I don't know the fucking details to speak on it. I don't. So a lot of individuals that are throwing their fucking trash out there saying, well, he's this and he's that and he's that. I'm like, you know what, dude? I was around during that time. As a matter of fact, when that fucking event happened, shit, what was I at? Shit, that was like, what, 2001 or something like that? 2003 or something like that? When that
it was.
It was 2003. Dude, I was fucking slinging lead in fucking northern Iraq when that shit was fucking going on. I didn't know what the
middle school.
I didn't. But what I'm saying though is that I didn't pay attention because I don't know the level of detail. I don't know the details of it. I didn't know it like that. So for me to comment on that, to me, I feel right now is out of place. I mean, I do. I feel like.
And what does it have to do? Because go ahead, if you don't want to mourn, Kobe Bryant, that's cool. Like, I'm not saying anyone should mourn or not mourn anybody, but his daughter died too, and 7 other people died as well. Right. A baseball coach, right? Families, kids. I mean, it was a terrible tragedy, and it's okay to because some people in the military realms have kind of flirted and made some maybe questionable social media decisions, and I won't harp on them. But it's okay to more. There's no as one of the people I follow.
Oh, you're talking about
who I follow on Task and Purpose.
Yeah,
said that there's no limit on how much we are allowed to grieve and send condolences. Like if I grieve and mourn the loss of Kobe Bryant, that means I can't mourn the loss of a service member who died in Afghanistan. Like there's a limiter.
Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. You're the PAO.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I want to leave it be because
I'm not going to leave it be, but you can leave it be. You're the PA. You can leave that.
Flash will leave it be.
Yeah,
there is no limiter on how much we're allowed to grieve and mourn and feel bad for other people. So don't think just because you're feeling bad for Kobe Bryant, because I'm saying, well, screw Kobe Bryant. What about these soldiers that I feel horrible that they died too. It's okay. Right. You can be a full fucking human being and feel bad for everybody.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. To me, the wine.
Wine.
Okay, drink your wine. Well, I got my fucking Jack ready right here. That's why I said I'm gonna pour my drink. Did you hear me fucking swashing back in the kitchen making all that noise? I was getting my fucking drink on because I knew this was gonna get people hyped up. Now look.
2 fingers, fuck it. 10 fingers.
There were some individuals that were like harping on the fact that this is fucked up and you need to think about vets and all this shit. Look, right now there's a big gap between the civil, military, and veteran divide. Some of the individuals out there, and I will say that, there are people out there that think vets are over fucking doing it on the look at me, I'm a vet as a veteran bullshit. There's other individuals that don't know enough about the military that you as a veteran or a member of the military uniformed service branch, whatever you want to include Space Force, you are presenting that example of what that individual who is not connected to the military is listening to you and watching you fucking tweet or comment on Facebook or post or whatever, to include also on your own whatever fucking platform you belong to or what you would prefer to, or you game on. Look. Okay, some of my cyber buddies that I talked to, I asked if I could release some of this information. A lot of you fell for some fucking Russian divisiveness is what you fucking fell for. Straight up. Straight up. I mean, it was no sooner that this event happened and all of a sudden people started posting a fucking accident that happened a few years back where a Marine helicopter killed and some Marines and sailors got fucking killed. And I'll be honest with you, y'all fell for the biggest fucking trap. You got had. big time. It was a reason to fucking have the device because it came out of fucking nowhere. The Navy Times posted that Navy.mil posted that long time ago. Y'all got fucking had. Now look, I'm gonna put this in comparison, okay? Who anybody wants to say, hey, I feel sorry for her, this is bad, does not give you the fucking right to start jumping on them and start forcing your shit onto them. I'll be honest with you. I'll post it, I'm like, God damn, Kobe Bryant, what the fuck? That's what I posted, or that's what I said to somebody, and they're like, dude, yeah, that sucks. That was it. That's fucking blows. I feel bad and all that. Nobody fucking jumped on my shit and said, fuck you, you need to represent vets, and this is what vets happen this, and this is what with vets, and this is what vets, and if you're not a vet, you hate vets. Ken, you hate vets because you're not talking about the guys that got killed in a helicopter crash that happened a few years back. Well, let's rewind the clock back, okay? Let me, because, it was 2005. Let me rewind the clock, because as individuals, Facebook has a long history, all right? And the one thing I love about fucking, your hypocrisy is fucking showing, and I'll tell you why. A few years back, in 2001, I'd say around Valentine's Day, a very prominent individual was killed in a car crash. A sanctioned car crash. Y'all know it was fucking Dale Earnhardt, right? Right. Raise hell, praise Dale. Everybody, the entire nation was mourning. Everyone thought it was the fucking shit. Military members, Talladega, everybody, flyovers, airborne guy, you name it, fucking everybody fucking felt bad. Not one see anybody fucking complain about, because we weren't going to war yet, right? Does anybody say anything about the fucking guys that got killed in Desert Storm? Because 9/11 didn't happen yet, right? No big deal. 4 days fucking later, I'd say maybe a week later, 2 helicopters collided in fucking Hawaii. And do you know what I saw on your fucking Facebook timelines? Not a fucking thing. Not a fucking thing. So you want to raise hell and praise fucking Dale, but then you want to fucking sharpshoot with your own hypocrisy. You can unfollow me. You can unfriend me. You can not look at me. I don't give a fuck. But if you want to throw that same hypocrisy on Kobe Bryant, then your ass better go back to when Dale Earnhardt got killed too.
You know, that was in 2001, and there really wasn't Facebook, right?
Well, I mean,
there's MySpace.
No, yeah, it would have been like MySpace or something. But what I'm saying though is that on social media at the time, there was also the remembrance. Remember Dale? Soldiers. I remember I had fucking soldiers at Fort Bragg that had fucking the big number 3s hanging off their fucking trucks. Not one did anybody say, "Did you think about the soldiers that got killed in Desert Storm?" It was all happened like a few years back, right?
So MySpace wasn't launched until 2003.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying though is that my point being, I'm talking about every remembrance.
I think the problem is it's just a different. I mean, our culture has changed to.
No, but Flash, it doesn't. Look.
Our soldiers are more needy, and our veterans are more needy for attention.
No, what I'm saying though,
supposed to throw this whole fit.
No, what I'm saying though, Flash, what I'm saying though is that every single time a celebrity fucking dies, all of our fucking veterans, what do we all fucking do? We all fucking post memes and say, "Oh my God, everybody guard Betty White." Motherfucker, it was Hugh Hefner that got killed.
Someone needs to get on that shit. We're not losing Betty White.
No, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying though is that everybody fucking AOL instant messenger. Exactly. I'm talking about the subsequent anniversaries of Dale Earnhardt's death is what I'm saying. The subsequent anniversaries of Dale Earnhardt saying, I have not seen anybody post that 2 helicopters had collided and killed individuals in Hawaii 4 days later. I don't see you fucking doing a remembrance for them. I don't. So your hypocrisy is already fucking showing. You can, like I said, you can unfriend me right now if you feel that, or unfollow us. I don't give a fuck. But to sit there and not have empathy as a representative of the veteran community and not have empathy and sympathy for the families in the military is pretty fucked up. People are looking at you as fucking examples. Functional Veteran Center of Excellence, right? People are looking at you as examples on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to sit there, and don't get me wrong, if you fucking want to talk shit and say I hate Kobe Bryant, or you want to say all this, I don't give a fuck. That's your own fucking face. You deal with your own repercussions and stuff like that. I feel fucking bad for his fucking family, and he was a good basketball player, like I said, and that's only because of the logical reasoning that I have of his past. Exactly that. People were going way the fuck back. I'm telling you, people were going way the fuck back, going on records without even fucking looking. You got had by some Russian bots. You got fucking psyoped.
See, I didn't even see all the extra stuff. I only saw the one one tweet that I'm referring to.
Well, and that's another thing too. I tweeted at my I retweeted a thing, and let me tell you something about this for you shit talkers you shit talkers that are talking about Kobe Bryant. Let me tell you right now, the proudest moment of Kobe Bryant's life was when he played for Team USA, the Olympics. Do you know what he did? He talked to General Martin Dempsey. And do you know what he did then? He visited Arlington and paid respects. Not only did he pay respects to the families and stuff like that, but decided to involve himself with initiative for Gold Star families. Kobe Bryant, the guys you got, everyone's been talking shit about. General Dempsey was my commander when I was in the 1st Armor Division, so I have natural respect for him already because he was my boss. You could talk all the crap all you want. You could say I hate this guy, I didn't like this guy, blah 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 blah. But don't throw the fucking vet card. Don't throw you don't like vets ice if you don't do this when you're not even looking at the fact that Kobe Bryant did a lot of things for vets already. How the hell are you going to sit there with your own hypocrisy? And then every time I see your fucking Facebook timeline that says Dale Earnhardt passed away, praise hell, praise Dale, love you Dale Earnhardt, goddamn. And who was the fucking driver that everyone got that gave him death threats? That fucking that he ran into Rubbins Racing and God, fuck that. They wanted to fucking hang the guy. They wanted to hang him. They wanted to hang the driver that hit him, that made him go into the fucking wall. Goddamn Dale. Okay, then I don't see the anniversary of those 2 helicopters that got fucking collided in fucking Hawaii during an exercise while they were sling loading aircraft under goggles. That killed about 7 fucking dudes. And severely injured a couple other guys, too. One of them just happened to be one of my friends who said, Ken, check this out. These motherfuckers are talking shit about Dale. Or they're talking shit about Kobe. How come I didn't get any fucking remembrance? Ooh, damn, dude. Hot take, man. As Spanky would say. That's a hot take. So before Andy sits there and talks about what you should do, hey, guys, gals, WTF Nation, if you want to say it sucks and you want to mourn the loss of Kobe Bryant, you go right the fuck ahead. Mm-hmm. You go right the fuck ahead. If you're a veteran, you go right the fuck ahead, man. It's your fucking right.
Now, what you can't do is mourn the loss of the Houston Astros.
Okay, so I got off my soapbox. Let me step down from my soapbox. I'm a little guy.
Cool.
So go ahead.
Let me step on mine.
Go for it.
So let me tell you a little bit about what's been going on in sports, since we're, because I won't bore everyone with the with all the scores right now. We are getting ready for the Super Bowl this coming Sunday against the Chiefs and the 49ers. Cool, because I predicted it in my office, so I'm very excited. It's gonna be a great Super Bowl, partly because the Patriots aren't in there and the Packers aren't in there, so it'll be that's gonna be a lot of fun. And basketball, a lot of teams, I'm sure every game has been paying some kind of homage to. To in remembrance to Kobe Bryant, including the Minnesota Timberwolves, where Kobe Bryant passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. So they did a little tribute there. He passed it in Minnesota. He only played for the Lakers. Just so everyone clarify. So we're moving on to baseball. Yes, baseball is coming up soon. Spring training is,
all right. No, wait,
not too far away.
So real quick. So. Yeah, let's go back to this. Let's go back to this baseball. So this whole fucking cheating scandal, right?
Hold on, I'm getting your.
Oh, okay.
You're killing my setup.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry, I'm getting too amped up.
See, we're getting back in. I know. Getting back to our groove.
Hang on, let me get my drink. Go ahead. Continue, Flash.
So on November 12th, 2019, the baseball world was shocked when Mike Fiers spoke to The Atlantic. He's a former Houston Astros pitcher, and he got the ball rolling on the cheating scandal when he alleged in speaking with The Atlantic that the team was stealing signs illegally during their 2017 championship run. Now, before we continue more into this, there's been a lot of going around with the Houston Astros in 2017. There's a lot of anomalies. There's a lot of teams who are saying that they think something's going on with the Houston Astros. Even in this last playoff runs where the Houston Astros played the New York Yankees, manager AJ Hinch, people were saying that there's whistling, that they're whistling during certain pitches. And AJ Hinch, very smugly, and I'm going to say it because fuck that guy, very smugly was like, tell me who these sources are. We're not cheating. We're not doing that. Stealing signs is part of baseball.
I remember that.
Stealing signs is part of baseball.
I remember that. Yep.
But this whole, so he was laughing at this whole he called it Whistlegate and stuff like that, and calling that the Yankees, what the Yankees were saying was bullshit. So then fast forward, Houston Astros would end up losing to the Washington Nationals, I think 6 games, for the World Series win. So go Nationals. That's the only time I'll say that. And then November rolled not too long after the World Series. Mike Fears, former Houston Astros pitcher, came out and said, "Yay, they were, they're cheating." So then the same day, Alex Cora, who was on the was a bench manager for the Houston Astros, and Carlos Beltran, who was a player, were both named in the report in 2017 as the main perpetrators of the sign stealing in Houston. And then November 14th, the MLB opened its investigation into the Houston Astros. So very shortly. Now, it came out. So then January 7th rolls by. The Athletic releases the new report on the Red Sox. They released a report alleging Alex Cora, who would leave the Houston Astros and would take the Red Sox to a championship that next year in 2018, was a mastermind, another cheating scandal in Boston. The league opened up another investigation to that one. And then on January 13th, A.J. Hinch and the Houston Astros GM Luthrow was suspended and then fired. And then the Astros were penalized. Pretty much, they proved in 2017, and then they even proved in 2000, and they're still looking into 2019. The Houston Astros cheated in one of the worst scandals, and a couple of things seem like it's in the top 5 of scandals, above doing cocaine and playing baseball, and then the whole steroid scandal. But just underneath.
Poor Pete Rose, dude. He's just watching all this shit, man. This is fucked up. Go ahead.
A lot of people are like, this is bullshit. Pete Rose deserves to be in. Anyways, and then like the 1908 Black Sox scandal and whatnot.
Right,
so this has
dude.
been a huge scandal. So this is exactly what's going on. What had happened was, and this only happened at home games, that they had a camera in center field. Now the camera was authorized. It's part of a whole scouting thing. That's fine. Again, stealing signs is not, players frown upon it because it's, but it's part of the game. But you cannot steal signs with an electronic device. The Red Sox got dinged up, I think, a year before for their whole wearing an Apple Watch in the dugout and seeing stuff off of that. That kind of got them in trouble. It wasn't a big thing. It kind of was almost like you lost a first round pick in the draft, and which is not as important. These first round picks aren't as impactful as football, but still, it's they got dinged for it. What happened was that apparently Alex Cora, Beltran, and AJ Hinch thought of an idea to take a wire, have the feed go all the way out. So there's the dugout on the field. There's a kind of like a in-between spot where you can go to like a weight room, like a hospital kind of section, and then out into the actual clubhouse in the stadium in this little spot that's like a couple steps off of the dugout. So they had the line come in there, and they had a TV, and they had a table and a TV, and they had players who would watch the live feed of the pitcher pitching. And then they used trash cans to signal. Now they wouldn't signal if it was a fastball.
Trash cans.
Seriously, trash cans.
What the fuck they do? Whoa.
They would bang on trash cans with bats when they would throw a breaking ball. So every time they were, because when you've been playing baseball for probably
so they didn't come up with like a Joe excuse and say, hey, we're just recreating the Broadway hit Stomp.
Well, apparently in the report they cited different methods that were used, but the trash can apparently was the most effective because it was the loudest. And so as a player, as a batter, if I hear anything, I'm assuming that it's going to be a fastball. But if I'm hearing a bang, 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 it's some kind of breaking pitch, curveball, knuckleball, changeup or something like that. There's even allegations because in that year, off a breaking pitch thrown by Aroldis Chapman for the Yankees, Altuve hit a go-ahead home run that won them the series. A lot of people actually said that they're alleging that he was wearing some kind of buzzer and that they buzzed him because they didn't want to make noise during the game. I don't know. There's some, but here's the funny thing. Guess how the MLB got the majority of this proof. Social media. There's people who were looking through all these home games of the Houston Astros and we're finding those that had the bang 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 right before right before a breaking pitch. So it was this whole thing. So it's not illegal to steal pitches. So that's why the pitchers change their stance so they don't tip pitches when there's a runner on second. But it is illegal to use a electronic system, especially when you're fucking looking at it on a screen. Like the fact that no one seemed to see this beforehand was ridiculous. But people were finding stuff on social media and compiling it and like tagging MLB. These videos were coming up and it became a huge thing until the report saying that AJ Hinch and Luthrow, who's the GM, were going to be suspended for a whole year. The Astros came out and said, "Fuck that! You both are fired."
Hey, bro, why are you buzzing? Oh, it's just my phone on vibrate.
Seriously, like people are like when when he hit the home run and was coming in, he was saying, "Don't grab my shirt, don't take my shirt." And, a lot of people they ripped their shirt excited. They're like, "Don't do that." And people are like, "Oh, he's saying because he's got a wire." And I don't know if that's true or not, but so that came out.
I find it real fucking hilarious that baseball's got this fucking scandal due to the fact baseball always has this snooty, almost like golf, pretentious, fucking pompous.
What sport are you watching?
No, what you talking about, Dad? Dude, come on, man. Oh my God, give me a fucking.
You know who's most pissed about this is the fucking Dodgers, who lost to the Houston Astros in 7, who lost every game Houston never lost a game at home. I'm just going to put that out there. So they, it is in the rules. Don't use fucking electronic devices. And they did, not just in 2017, they did in 2018, 2019. But this is just citing the allegations. So the GM the GM and AJ Hinch immediately fired by owner Jim Crane. The assistant GM was apparently, who had more of a part, was banned from baseball altogether. They lost like their first 2 round picks for like next couple years and had a big fine. So that was January 13th. January 14th, it showed up as like Alex Cora has been cited in this, and not just for the Houston Astros, but for the Red Sox as well, for their, what happened and for them winning in 2018. So then the Red Sox went, fuck that. Alex Cora, they parted ways, but other news outlets are saying that his ass got fired. And then just, he player to coach, Carlos Beltran, who also had a stint with the New York Yankees, got his chance. He's managing the New York Mets. Didn't even get to manage his first game because he was fired from the Mets because of his involvement in this whole thing.
Alexa, find us a way to cheat and win.
So this has gotten so bad. So then MLB's acting a little weird. They told all the teams and players, do not comment on this, don't say anything, leave it alone. And players went, fuck that shit. One of the most notable is Aaron Judge is a big he's a great classy guy. He made this great post when Altuve beat him out for the most valuable player in 2017, and then immediately deleted that right after this whole scandal came out. Justin Verlander's been who won the Cy Young this year, was at an event Saturday night, and he was pretty much going, when they accepted the awards, was pretty much making light to like, oh, we're just more technical and analytically more advanced. So people started banging on their glasses. During his speech. And he I'll tell you what, Justin Verlander got so pissed.
Why?
Fuck that guy.
But I'm saying,
just because their people are turning this whole thing around on them. People are. There's already been reports that like
it's that pompous mentality, dude. Telling you.
Well, Well, the Houston Astros have had this like thing that they think they're better than everyone else from the jump, and it's Altuve came out and was like, oh, it doesn't matter, we're gonna win anyways, and we're gonna go to this World Series again. Justin Verlander making his jokes about the scandal, and then at the game was CC Sabathia, who probably could have, the Yankees had at least had a shot to go to the World Series. They were only that one game away. But because of the scandal, the Yankees lost out as well because they were playing at Houston. But there's already reports that home games for other teams when they play the Houston Astros are selling out. Oh my God, this year is going to be amazing because the Houston Astros it's going to be as bad as when A-Rod came back from his whole ped scandal and the Red Sox immediately, like every pitcher was plunking him. Like every time he came up to bat, they were hitting him with the ball.
Yeah, I remember that.
I guarantee it's going to be the same. Like, I think the first road game for the Houston Astros is at Angels Stadium against the Los Angeles Angels, or the Anaheim Angels. Sorry,
right.
They're selling out. Even one of the minor league teams for the New York Yankees was selling these cups that look like trash cans. It's like, and players have started like ever since like the first player came out and started like, fuck MLB, I'm going to say what I want to say. Everybody's starting to lay into the Houston Astros. Good, they're a bunch of cheating hacks. I feel bad for the Dodgers who it's one thing to lose.
Oh, but I couldn't, dude. I would clown them. Like if I was like a fucking assistant or something to one of the players and I didn't like them and I knew they were fucking cheating or something like that, I would so fucking clown. Yeah, there you go. That would be their fucking sound. That would be like a lightsaber
I
sound.
tell you what, watching Verlander's face when, like, because he said, we're more technically, analytically better than everybody else, and then you hear all these players start doing this.
Exactly.
His face, like, he just went, like, immediately just, like...
He got red, dude, yeah. He got pissed.
Guys are going home.
Yeah.
But fuck them. And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this season because the Yankees have a good team, and there's a lot of other teams that made some really good moves. So I think it's going to be a little more competitive this season. It seemed like there's a lot of really good teams and a lot of really crappy teams, and not a lot of competition between. But I look forward to seeing and ESPN and MLB TV is going to show for the first couple of away games for the Houston Astros, every time they go to somebody else's hometown, especially when they come to the Bronx or they go to, they go anywhere, they're going to be heckled with this trash can shit. But yeah, you can look it up on YouTube. There's lots of videos of the supposed cheating and great examples of, what happened. Again, it's not the sign stealing that's the problem. Everyone does it. It's just the fact that you use a fucking TV or a fucking camera.
So what's wrong? What's what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. Everyone expected it not to fucking happen, though. That's my problem. It's that my problem with the whole argument is that they're getting mad they got caught.
About it.
Yeah, that's what they got mad because they got caught of stealing. And I'll be honest with you, that is a stupid rule to begin with. Stealing signs, who cares? If then get rid of the fucking trash cans, or the way I see it, how is it cheating or something like that when it comes to breaking balls and shit like that?
Stealing signs is not the problem. It's the fact that they were able to. They used a camera to a TV to identify the type of pitch he was going to throw, and then to give them a competitive edge because, it's not like there was a runner on second and he's going, hey, he's going to throw a breaking ball. Or probably some kind of symbol that sign that was a little more nonchalant. But they used a whole system to literally cheat out everyone during the 2017 playoffs.
And baseball players are and they're so butthurt about it too. Everyone. No, who cares? Dude, who cares?
Aroldis Chapman lost the Yankees. And he wouldn't even talk to the media for like the next couple of weeks.
But if your team want Flash, but if your team.
How shitty would you feel knowing
if your team
that's what lost you your chance to go to the World Series?
But if you're man, don't make me whip about the lightsaber, dude. Fuck, man. There you go. That's my fucking noise. If your team won the World Series and somebody came up and accused you guys of cheating, you guys would go fucking. You're a New York Yankees fan, man. You guys would go nuts. You guys would go.
Some people were saying that the Yankees had some kind of part in all this, and my butt puckered. I went, "Oh God, here we go."
Yeah, right. See,
and then MLB came out and said, "Nah, there's nothing with any because they was Yankees and like two of their teams. They said, "Oh, we're involved," and then it came out that MLB is like, "There's no evidence that either one of these teams had anything to do." This is focused on the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox and their home thing, dude. I mean, I don't know, maybe because but
So real quick, so what's this? What happened?
The rules are cut out.
So
it doesn't matter if you did, if you're taking, you do UPL,
right?
Doesn't matter if you did marijuana or
right?
Or
no,
cocaine,
I guess,
crack.
yeah, but
you broke the rules.
So tell me,
guess what? Houston Astros, while they keep their title, even though I think they should vacate the 2017 World Series.
God, so you baseball fucking fans are butthurt. So real quick, now wasn't there somebody like in fucking California, like the Dodgers get butthurt or something like that, saying that they deserve to get their fucking they deserve to get the title, they should win the fucking.
First, the Dodgers came out and they were like, Dodgers and mostly Dodgers fans, but the Dodgers players feel they've been cheated, but they don't want this. Like I think players came out and said we don't want the scraps, of what this, this scandal was leaving behind. So meaning they don't want this to change from the Houston Astros to the Dodgers, but what they are just pissed off that this apparently there was rumors that people were talking like, hey, we just Astros are doing something, but no one could prove it.
Exactly. So nobody knows what the hell is going on. So shut your hole.
Used to be a pitcher for the Houston, and then Dallas Cagle, who now plays for Minnesota. I think he just got picked up from Minnesota last year. He was with the Braves, but who was on that World Series team, even came non-apology type thing, but acknowledged it, but didn't really apologize for it. So the players acknowledged that it was wrong and all this other stuff, but they still did anyways because they wanted to win a fucking World Series. So I mean, I think Dodgers fans are more pissed off than the Dodgers players.
Shit, here we go. Now you hang on. Now we got a fucking another lightsaber coming in the mix. What's up? What's up? You there? WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air. Hello? Hello? Oh, man. You hear that vibration? I'm getting a signal. I'm getting a sign. Fucking baseball players, man. Anyways, so, okay. Another elephant in the fucking room.
Did you know Kobe Bryant also won an Oscar?
Really?
Yes, he won an Oscar for a short film, Dear Basketball.
Oh yeah, he did. That's right.
Like 4 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. He did. That's right.
He has an Oscar, a gold, Olympic gold medal,
and the endorsement of a 4-star general, and Gold Star families.
And they have announced that they're going to be inducting him to the Basketball Hall of Fame this year.
He was already scheduled, but there was some vetting process.
I think his time was coming up.
Right, exactly. He was already coming up anyway. So, hang on, we got another call here. Ándale pues, Jorge. I see. I keep answering. He's one. Hello. Anyways, okay, no more calls. Then appreciate you guys are like blasting up the phone because we're gonna. So the other elephant in the room. So the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers are now going to be doing their face-off in Miami.
It's going to be a great game. I'm picking the 49ers on this one. I know they're not the favorite, but I'm picking the 49ers.
I want both teams to lose. So to me, because I don't care. Everyone's like, "Ooh, hey Ken, who are you going for? And are you going to talk about man?" All these people coming out of the bunch of bandwagon jumpers on both fucking sides.
I need new co-host when I do the sports thing because you're just like a anti-sport person.
No, I'm not. I just don't care about both teams. So I mean, I
don't care about. I'm a Giants fan, of course.
What I'm saying though is
that and shout out to Eli Manning. The debate's out whether he's going to be considered a Hall of Fame quarterback or not. Much as I love him, I don't think he'll make the cut. So I think it'll be like close, but he'll make the cut. But shout out to him for leaving the Giants organization respectfully, and not like creating a whole issue.
Not being a douche about it, yeah. So what's the what are the books saying about the 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Chiefs. Like I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that as soon as like the next day happened, the Chiefs are the favorites. They're still the favorites coming up into this weekend. I don't expect those numbers to change. I don't think it's a huge Not like it was when it was the Patriots versus the Giants, and they're like, the Giants might as well just die because they have no chance in hell. I think it's going to be much closer than that because both teams are really good.
Right.
But the Chiefs are a good favorite for now. I think the 49ers, who've been tearing it up this year. I think it's gonna be a great game, but I'm going to put money 49ers are going to win this one.
So you're putting down
a Super Bowl chance.
So you're putting down 40. Okay, and I'm not even in the mix. I will totally. Everyone's asking me that. Hey, you're going to do your sports. You're going to give your take on who you. I'm like, yeah, both teams. I want both teams to lose. Both teams will lose. How about that? I don't fucking care.
It's going to end a tie.
Well, yeah. Well, no. The thing is that I'm not a fan of either team. Now, if you want to look at statistics and scores and stats and all that, I think it's going to be a pretty good. Like you said, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be evened out pretty good. My thing is that they're putting too much on Mahomes right now to kind of fucking say he's going to be the winner, because all it's going to take with him is a good sack and a good injury, especially when it comes to Super Bowl and the calls, the way the refs have been calling it lately for other games. They've been getting a lot, like you were saying, there was a scandal right before we went off air, about how refs were getting a lot of flack by not making the right calls. So I think there's going to be more scrutiny on the calls that the refs are going to be doing, and I think it's going to go back and forth. So if Mahomes, if he's not taken off if he's not put on the injured list with this game, or he's at least tired by the way the 49ers defense is going to be, then I think they may have a chance. But other than that, I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be either or, was what I'm saying.
I think the fact that they're going to be able, you can now,
and it's not the Patriots.
You can now challenge pass interference, or if there wasn't, you can challenge it.
Exactly.
I think it's helping refs not, if they make a mistake, be able to kind of get out of it and not being a lasting thing like we saw against the Saints and the
Saints. Yeah, dude.
And the Rams last year.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
So hopefully, but they always pick they pick the best refs, like the refs with the best records and everything like that, because they keep track of their stats. Like, you might not know it, but the refs actually keep track of their stats when they've botched a call, when they've had a call reversed, all this stuff. So and they go for the seasoned vets and stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't expect any issues, and I expect it to be a really good Super Bowl. Apparently there's gonna be some kind of concert that's gonna happen in between. I don't care, but I think it's gonna be a really good Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think Jorge's got a point. There'll be a opposite call by the refs, back and forth. It'll be eliminated by see, that's the thing. It's gonna be you're gonna see it's gonna be in Miami anyway. So there's not gonna be too much of a. I wonder who the refs are. They were talking about doing a lineup of the refs anyways to talk about who was gonna be the ones. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not either fan. So
yeah.
But I think it'll be a good game personally. This is me.
Yeah, I think I'm very excited about this Super Bowl, only for because I like when teams that aren't usually in the Super Bowl are in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs had a great year, and they've had an even great. They were down 28 to 24 to nothing in the first quarter. The second quarter came back and just whooped the hell out of
the dude. That's
the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
the whole
right, exactly. So
the 49ers have been playing with a lot of gusto. They've been playing very confidently. They ran their last game. They ran almost all except 9 passes. So their running game, kind of getting back to the old school. Hit them in the. If they can keep running, there's only so much the Chiefs can do, because Jimmy G can still throw it. So a lot of those, you think about it, those wide receivers become blockers.
Right.
So we'll see if they change, if the 49ers change up what they've been doing, or if they do a little bit more of a mix between the run and the pass. But the Chiefs will be passing. Mahomes has been playing great. He's got great legs on him. He's been taking some big hits, but still keep going. The defense is very tough. It's going to be a good Super Bowl. I'm
curious.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited, because it's not going to be a, when the Patriots in there, I'm going to see the Patriots lose.
Right.
I'm going to go see two teams.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. And that's a good thing too. Everyone's really hating on it. The Patriots in the chats and all the chats, man. Holy crap. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be fuck the Dodgers, and everyone's going to be going for either or team, obviously, who are fans of. Which, instead of everyone just saying who's the Patriots playing against, you know what I mean? That was the norm.
Yeah.
So, anyways, cool. Is that all you got for sports? The sports page.
That's all for Sports Rage. Hey, don't forget to follow us on all our social media channels. We're everywhere now. If you noticed in the tags, we're on Twitter. You're probably listening here on either Twitter or Facebook. We're on Periscope. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. WTF Nation Radio. So make sure to like us, follow us, share us, tell your friends about us, and be involved. Send us messages. We love hearing from you guys. If there's certain people you want us to try to get on as guests, let us know, because we're always on the lookout for who to bring on. And don't forget, since we're changing up the team, we're changing up our style, we're adding more people. You want to be a part of the WTF Nation radio team? If you go to WTFNationRadio.com, yes, go there. And you can go there for all kinds of good content. But if you want to apply, if you go to About Us, there'll be a how to join the team tab. Fill out the application all the way. Tell us about yourself. Tell us who why you want to be a part of the team and what you can bring to the team. And we'll go from there. And if you missed this show or any other shows, don't forget you can go to WTFNationRadio.com. Or you can go to our iTunes podcast, WTF Nation Radio. You can subscribe. You can listen to all the shows. I mean, you can go back to years. So, never miss a show. We love hearing from you, and we missed you guys, and we're glad to be back.
So, real quick, and to reiterate, is the part of the reason why there was a big break too. We're trying to get the tech back up, and now it's back up. So you can download. We're broadcasting and podcasting on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Mixcloud, TuneIn, Player FM, iVoox. Man,
I didn't realize we're on iHeartRadio. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, we're on iHeartRadio.
We're on iHeartRadio.
Twitter, YouTube, Mo Crush, both Facebook's pages. We're on the website of WTF Nation Radio, of course, like Flash mentioned before, and U.S. Army, or actually ArmyWTFMoments.com at the WTF Nation Radio tab. We're getting on more fucking podcasts. We're getting on more sites, so that way you can download a podcast anytime you want. Like I said, 2020, we get mo bigger, mo better. Faster, stronger, yada, yada, yada. We're ready for this ACFT. Are we taking too big of a tech bite? No, we are the tech bite. We are merely this. And what do you mean by taking too much of a tech bite? We do what we want. I mean, what's wrong? This is actually by demand. Hey, Paul from Paul. Hey, you guys from Taipei, you watch out for that fucking coronavirus, man. Damn,
yeah, we didn't get to that, but hey, there's been a handful of confirmed cases up and down the eastern seaboard and the western seaboard. So please take precautions, wash your hands, watch out, don't travel to China right now because it's a little dodgy. So
it is, exactly.
Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.
All right, yeah. Thank you guys for joining up. There's not going to be a readout of what we got going on yet, because once we get everything together and everyone gets back into place, you're obviously going to be hearing more about guests. February is going to be pretty busy. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. All the way through there's events that we're just like scratching our heads. How the hell are we going to do this? But we're going to make it happen. So thank you guys for listening to us, and share, like, and follow, of course. If you guys have anything, again, when it comes to unlicensed music, or a good band, and the same thing with like applying for a host. It's like a good host, something, if you have the good gift of gab and you can talk and your voice sounds legit, it doesn't sound like you're like a fucking walrus going or Chewbacca fucking whatever, but they sound the same. Then feel free to apply, and you will be interviewed. And there's going to be filtered out. If you don't get a fucking answer, that means obviously that you probably didn't get it or whatever. So stay strong with that, and don't be discouraged. Doesn't mean we don't like you as a fan either. So you got anything else? Yeah, right. You good? Oh yeah, 90,000 confirmed cases in China, according to a certain whistleblower. Holy shit, 90,000. That's how World War Z happened.
Well, they're saying, for the last point, that apparently in like 1720, 1820, 1920, there was like a plague of some sort. So
at every 20
shots.
Yeah, at every 20. So, except this is the coronavirus. This wouldn't happen if you drink Tecate, but that's just a dad joke that I like to throw out. Anyways, thank you all.
I'm drinking another whiskey to keep out of this.
Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Everybody get some shots, and I'll see y'all later for Sergeant's Time. Showits.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Surveyed the universe and said, let's make all of this our own. He commissioned a group of soldiers to take upon their shoulders a daunting task to relentless fields amid conquest of the last frontier. Now here we are enlisted for the glory of our nation. To say that we're the best would be an under-exaggeration. Prepared for combat with an alien race to kick their asses right in the face. Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. Though critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, 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 dum. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger-qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.